Reolink sent me this Argus 3 Pro and a solar panel for me to provide you my 100% honest opinion. So we're going to do just that. In fact, I broke it up into 3 different videos. One is an unboxing and overview video. One is me comparing this against the Argus 2 that I previously did a review on, and also the Wisecam Outdoor, all kind of in that same battery-powered family. But this is going to be a walkthrough of all the app and features because this thing can just do a lot. So let's dive in. Okay, so I'm going to set the camera over here, and as you can see, when you first launch that app, you can see the different devices. And it kind of gives you a last preview, if you will. But then if I dive into the front door 2, which is actually the Reolink Argus 3 Pro here, you can see, look at that. That's a great view. That's a great shot, isn't it? Now, keep in mind, I do actually have a lot of light on me, right? This is a very well lit studio, but keep in mind, that's a great picture. In fact, they just recently updated the apps with these new icons, so this is perfect timing. We are going to dive right in. So first, let me go along the bottom here. We got that play pause button in the bottom left. I can actually pause the video if I need to try to capture something, or for whatever reason you want to see what's ever on the screen still. The speaker button literally does just that. It passes that audio from my camera to the phone here, as you heard that car drive by. This picture button allows you to just take a picture and it saves it to your camera roll, and it even gives you that little share icon, which is super nice, and boom, I can share it with whoever I want. And then same with the video. If I just hit that video, it starts to record. Now this is what I did in my testing, so I can compare all the video quality of the different cameras. You may want to go check that out. I'm going to turn that off. And before you actually do hit that record button, you're going to want to make sure that you choose the high or 1080p here, or sometimes it says fluent. So if it says fluent, that means your data is not very fast or maybe low latency, or high latency. So it's going to dumb that down to a lower resolution, which is totally fine when you're just kind of getting a quick glance of maybe who's there. But when you actually go back to download that footage, it downloads in whatever quality you are currently in. So you will want to be able to choose that low, choose your 1080p, which changes it to high resolution, and then you can hit that record button. And then this just gives you that full screen mode there where you can go into, see the whole thing. And then let me go back here. Now I can hit this alarm button. Let me turn on the speaker so you can kind of hear it. And this alarm icon does just that. Do you want to trigger the alarm? Yes. Whoops. Sorry, neighbors. Okay, stop. So, as you heard, the alarm was coming through. Now, thankfully, I'm actually re-recording this video. I recorded it at like 2 in the morning, and there were just too many mess ups, so I'm starting over. So now it's only 1 in the afternoon. So I wanted to show the alarm, but I wasn't going to do that late at night, that's for sure. Now, here's my view that I was looking for before. They actually changed the icon, so I didn't recognize it. So I can either choose that single camera, or if I hit this button, that gives me all 4 cameras at once. And loading up. So now I can see all 4 cameras. I got my back patio, I got the side garage, the front door, and now my studio camera here. So let me hit that setting button, because this is where you kind of see a lot of the information about the camera. So if dive into battery, it actually starts collecting data on your battery. It shows me 96%, but over time, it'll actually start showing me my battery usage. Now, I just enabled that feature. Once you dive into this, it actually says, do you want us to allow that? Obviously, we got your network setting. That's my internal wireless I'm currently using. And then if I dive into display, this actually brings up the camera view here. But then it allows me to hit flip. So if I want to flip that camera upside down and mount it a certain way, it'll actually have the right orientation. So that's how you can do that. And then the quality, this is exactly what I mentioned before, that low quality or high quality. The cool thing is you can actually even change the resolutions that those are even at. So if you needed even less resolution because you have a really slow data network where you are, you can even choose that, fluent resolution to even smaller than their default. So I think I kind of appreciate that feature, that you can actually bump that down a little bit more. And let's say your fast internet isn't very fast, you can bump up that fast one or down maybe to like 720p, for instance, instead of the full 2K. But obviously, I'm going to keep that full default here, keep it clear as possible for me. And then if I dive into the day and night setting, this is where you're going to keep that either color or just pure black and white for the day to night. That's because this camera has the LED lights, and we're going to get to those settings more in a bit here. And then brightness, if it's too dark in the room, you can obviously brighten that up. Obviously, this room's not too bright, so I can even bring that way down if you want to see some of that contrast. But generally, like most things, you're going to want to keep them, the default settings. But I do appreciate that you can adjust some of this stuff. Now, camera name, I appreciate that you can choose this in the top left, top right. So right now I don't have much in that bottom left corner, so I can drop it down there, for instance. I kind of appreciate that, or you can just totally turn it off. Same with the logo and the date. You can choose where you want these things. I actually love that because right now I have a lot of different cameras that I'm testing, so I can turn that Reolink off when I'm actually, going to use it permanently. But when I'm testing, I like to keep it on so I remember which camera this footage came from even. Sometimes it's hard to tell, but these Reolinks are so crystal clear, it's been fairly easy. So now the privacy mask, this is if, for instance, you are overshooting off my driveway and I'm getting my neighbor's house, I can block off their windows, for instance. So that's more of a courtesy thing, which I can appreciate that you can do. Mask off some of the street. Let's say it's a walkway, a common walkway that for another business or something. Lots of different options for that. Again, I just appreciate that they have that option. Now diving into that motion sensor. So obviously you can turn the motion sensor on and off, or you can even dive in sensitivity wise. Now, I'm going to tell you why I have it up on higher sensitivity in a second, but it's basically because of this notifications for people and detection. If you have like trees or anything kind of in the way, sometimes it could do a false alarm. So it just has a kind of an algorithm that says reduce those false alarms, which again, appreciative because if there's too many false alarms, you just turn off the notifications and then you miss the important stuff. So it's very important to be able to make sure you're not getting false alarms, and then that sensitivity for the same thing, right? So make sure you're actually not getting too many notifications. And then camera recording, you can turn the recording off if you choose, which I'm not sure why you would. I suppose right now I could turn it off because it's just on my desk aiming at me. So now I'm just getting all this footage of me getting recorded and the battery's draining faster. But other than that, I'm not sure why you'd want to turn off recording just for viewing, but hey, it's there if you want to. Maybe there's a private event going on, they asked to not record, I'm not sure. But when you dive into the scheduling, this is what's cool. You can actually say, turn off vehicles, so you don't want detecting of vehicles, only people. So this is only going to record people all the time, right? And then you can adjust the times here, dive into your different days and times. I just love the fact that you can highly customize this. So not only recording, but you can also do this for the notifications. We'll get to that in a second. But then after your scheduling or after your recording, you can actually set how many seconds do you want to keep recording after it sees that movement or detects no motion, right? So just in case something else is going to come in, usually, right? One person walks in the door, then a few seconds later, another person, it'll keep recording all of that. And then I always just do unlimited overwrite. So then it's just going to constantly overwrite your equipment or your card here. So again, this is the push notifications. Yeah, I love being able to get a notification saying that, hey, your battery is low. You need to charge this thing. Now, if you have the solar panel, you'll pretty much never have to worry about that. I'm in Iowa, and even in the winter, last winter, it kept up with recording no problem, even on a pretty busy street. And that was on the Reolink Argus 2s that don't even have the person detection, so it's recording everything. So keep that in mind. It's kind of convenient having those solar panels if you so choose. And then again, the push schedule, this is just like the other one. I love the fact that in the summertime, I like to drop some of these notifications during certain hours, right? So I don't mind getting notified overnight or if I'm on vacation, but during the day, my kids are playing outside a lot in the summer, or the neighbors are coming over a lot in the summer, and I don't need to be notified every time someone comes in my driveway. That's just me, but I still have recording. I'm just not getting the notifications. So that's kind of convenient that you can record but not be notified. And then that way, if something does happen and we like, hey, let's check the footage, and we should see that motion or that movement. So I love the fact that you can adjust the recording and scheduling differently. So that's fantastic. Email alerts, just that. You can set up email alerts. You kind of have to go through a few steps there. Hey, real quick, if this video is helping you, one way you could help us out is by buying that cup of coffee for us. Keeps that caffeine flowing for us to make videos and keep those honest product reviews coming to you. Another free way you can help is by hitting that like or subscribe, or even leaving us a comment that tells YouTube, hey, this guy makes some pretty decent content and we should show some others. So either way, I appreciate that. Now let's dive back in. Now the siren you can turn on and off, and then even customize the feature for the voice there, and then share my camera. That allows you to, it brings up a QR code that you could scan, and then you would have access to this camera. So obviously I'm not going to bring that one up. And then time lapse. Obviously I don't have a micro SD card in at the moment. I forgot to put it back in. But that basically allows you to, capture a sunrise and sunset, and it has some auto preset features in there, which are kind of nice, but just know it does drain your battery like 15% per sunrise. So pretty significant, but kind of a fun feature, because since these are portable, I have taken these and just set them off to the sunset and then hit record time lapse, and it's kind of cool, and then just move it back to your front door. So that's kind of a fun thing to do every once in a while. But now the advanced settings, if I dive into advanced, this is where each device actually has their own password that you create during this quick setup. And then you can adjust the time and date if it's off a little bit, but I just keep it synced. And then, you can disable recording that audio. Again, I'm not exactly sure why you'd want to, but if you do want to not record audio, only video. But also the infrared lights. Now, why are the infrared lights a big deal? Because if you're shooting out a window, right? Let's say you want to put this on the inside of your window shooting outside. That infrared light's going to reflect off the glass of the window and come back into the camera, and it's going to be a garbage picture. So if you want to record from the inside out, that is one reason why you would definitely want to turn those infrared lights off. Other than that, I'm not exactly sure why you'd want to, but there's maybe a few other options. Maybe you have plenty of light outside and you have a lit up parking lot and you don't want those infrared lights on. That could be an option. Maybe you have extra infrared lights already. But again, I appreciate the fact that you can turn that off. Now your status LED, I prefer to keep that little blue dot on, and that's because let's say I forget the notification that my camera is dead, right? So I can walk as I walk by the camera, it'll remind me like, oh, that light's not on, that must be dead. But if you don't like those blue lights and you don't want it to be super obvious at night that you have a camera, you can turn that off. And then last but not least, the spotlight. Again, do you want it on? Do you want it to auto come on? I usually keep it in auto, so it automatically will turn on in dark mode, night mode, and then auto on for the live view. You're probably not going to want that, but then that way when you pull that live view up, boom, there's the spotlight. And then last but not least, your restore and reboot. If you need to go into those settings and do that remotely, that's convenient to have. One thing that's nice is along the bottom here, I can hit talk and clip and playback. This is going to allow me to talk to the camera, right? So if there's a camera that is, I'm going to go back to just the single one here. If I want to talk to someone on the camera, so let's have a listen what that sounds like.
This is a test of the Argus 3 Pro speaker with a nice microphone about 2 feet away and me talking into my phone. So if you have someone at your front door, you could talk to them a little bit.
Okay, I'm back, and I'm going to show you that if I hit that clip button, it basically just does a zoom in for me. If you want to zoom in, what is that person actually doing? Oh, they're on their phone. But then if I hit that playback button, the playback obviously brings up the play menu. But since I don't have anything in a micro SD card in there, I can just swipe across. I'm going to pull up my camera from my back door here, because I know I was recording some extra B-roll earlier today for one of those other videos if you want to go check that out. So I'm going to go scroll back. So I got my date here. I can choose up at the top, which is nice. It's highlighted in bold there. You can see the 1, 2, 3, 4 if it's actually got a recording on it. And then I can just scroll back and forth here. And then let me dive into about 11:18. And there I am recording some extra footage. Now, this is pretty fantastic. And now, again, I can hit that low or high quality. Sometimes they call it clear. Sometimes they call it 1080p. That's one thing they're not super consistent with in the app just yet. But I can hit the picture of a snapshot. Now that captured that snapshot, right? We're not live. And then hit record if I want to download it or anything like that. Another nice thing is I can actually just hit this 1x. And if I want to slow things down, I can go to 0.5x. I want to really see what that person's doing. I can hit 0.5x. Oh, now it's changing on me. I accidentally swiped. But I can change that 0.5x, allowing me to then be able to slow it down just enough to maybe see the thing I need to see, right? So the great thing is they just give you tons of options to be able to customize your experience, which I love. Now, most of you just know that out of the box, it works very well and pretty much what you would want, right? Person and vehicle detection, stuff like that. So leave your questions down below, what you have for me. I'm happy to answer every single one. Until next time, thanks for watching. See ya.